What's going on, my creative collective? Welcome to your June 22nd reading. We are going to dive right in here. So let us away. I would like to invite the angels, my guardian angels, my spirit guides, protectors, teachers, and their healing energy to this space. And I ask that it is a safe and brave space that allows for the fullest expression of our light, humanity, ascension, and healing. Okay, so I'm going to pull from the postcards from Spirit to get this started and see where this takes us, okay? Spirit, what messages do you have for my creative collective for June 22nd, please? June 22nd, thank you. Okay, so this is Celebrate Life. Beautiful imagery on the back. Okay. Dear you, there are times in life when taking a risk is better left for another day. Other times are perfect for taking that leap, no matter how dangerous it might seem. Well, hold on to your parachute strings for today. For today is leap time. Realize that no matter what, we will not let you fall, drown, get lost, or hurt yourself in any way on this one. Even if it may feel like you are in free fall, we are here for you, and you can stop freaking out about getting hurt and relax into this transition to something new. That's beautiful. All the elements are in place, and your soul is ready for a new experience. No matter what you're asking about, it's time to take the risk and do the thing that scares you. No matter what happens, you will land softly right on target. Don't worry about the outcome. Spirit's got that covered. It's taking the leap itself that's the point. We love your courage. Embrace it. That's beautiful. I really love that. We're going to clarify. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives, please? Messages for my daily creatives. Taking leaps, having faith. 9 of Cups. Yeah, to do with the heart space for sure. Indeed. This is heart-centered. Indeed. 9 of Cups. The Wheel. 6 of Cups. Knight of Pentacles. Empress. Ace of Pentacles. 8 of Cups. Chariot. Muse of Voices, and 7 of Wands. So the Muse cards in this particular deck, this is the Muse Tarot by Chris, and I think of it as like a bridging energy. To me, this is like consciousness bridging energy. So the Knight of Cups, interesting. It wouldn't surprise me if that came out later, so earmark that. But the 9 of Cups and the Wheel and the 6 of Cups, this is definitely an ending of I think a heart space that was possibly looking back. And even if it wasn't looking back in a way that was deleterious of present moment enjoyment, I mean, usually that's the case, but what I'm seeing here more so is like this looking back and maybe seeing what could have been, from like there's seeing that there was a direct route that you took, but then seeing all of the possibilities that happened when something fated occurred. This is also the end of a cycle, right? So it's almost like the 9 of Cups is showing up here as a wish fulfillment, but it's like it's as though the wish fulfillment is coming, and there are risks, but I don't think it's the risk that you may believe that it is, because I think this is largely about a leaving behind of the way the light shone through your heart. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot I'm feeling a lot of the energy here is it's heart healing, right? It's heart healing. And I think that is what is turning the wheel, because it's not that fated events are going to occur. They would occur regardless, but the ones that you will be attuned to and able to recognize are going to be visible to you because of your frequency shifting, because of it lightening, because of it easing up. Like there's this energy, like this sigh that I'm feeling, that I feel is connected to these energies here, where it's like there's this deep sigh that you're able to take now. There's a deep sigh that you can take within yourself. And I feel like because of that, and the sigh isn't one of like, ugh, it's really a release, right? Um, so I feel like that's the beautiful part of this, and I feel that something that could become a tower if it's not really addressed, or if it goes I don't want to say unchecked, because then that implies that we are somewhere other than the driver's seat. But it's like if it goes unattended, and this is the Knight of Pentacles. So I get that this is kind of like a pace. This is on the one hand a pace, but it could also represent a person. So it could be messages that are quite slow to come in, or a pace with others, or I'm honestly getting that this is a part of you, because the Empress is showing up here in the protagonist energy. I feel like there's a way that you might be, I want to say, there aren't a lot of cards to indicate thought. And I feel like it's sort of like, are you going slow because of overthinking, or are you going slow because of the Six of Cups? It's a pace thing, right? There's no swords on the board, which tell me that that is an energy that's missing. So it's like there's a thought process that has already taken place, or you might be misplacing, like, why is it that you're in this Six of Cups, this backward facing energy, this looking back energy? Is it because you're, feeling happy and grateful now? That is it because you're in a healing space? Is it because you're doing rituals to release with the Wheel and the Nine of Cups? Is it that ended cycle energy, this expansive energy to welcome in, right? What's the reason why the swords are missing, right? Just considering that. And it's not about doing things thoughtlessly. It's not about that. I'm not picking that up here, but you might question your pace. You might question yourself and doubt yourself a little bit. And I think that if you go too slow, that can become a tower for its own reasons, because that's hesitation, that's avoidance, that's a whole bunch of other things kind of coming together in one. But I think that this is really about, I think that there's a certain way that your energy has been put into place, and it could have been hesitation because of past experiences that you've had that really hurt, that hurt your heart. So I think pace is important to be mindful of, but remembering that the Knight of Pentacles is an aspect of the energy that's within you, and the protagonist energy is showing up as this Empress energy, which I feel like you're embodying right now. You're embodying this. So it's less about like, is it going too slow because I'm feeling put upon by spirit and all of these other things at work, and whether you're thinking about transits and astrology, or I don't know, just cycles, things like that. Like, is it because of external facing energy, or are you really doing the integrative work, right? Are you doing the integrative work? And then the protagonist here is showing up as the Ace of Pentacles, which to me is not so much of sort of like negative energy of new beginning. I think this is looking at opportunities that come across your path and just doing that gut check to make sure that they are aligned with where it is that you're headed upon the end of this cycle, right? And that's not to say that things can happen like, it's not about turning us into this victim of the world either. It's not about that, because that's not true either. What I'm understanding, though, is that the wheel energy here is one of, again, it's just shifting your vibration so you're able to hear and tune into specific things better, with a more refined ear for it, right? Or more refined heart for it. So it's just, when opportunities cross your path, it's almost like seeing them as blessings, right? Seeing them as blessings regardless. And because you have shifted internally, so your energy is shifting. Every single opportunity that knocks, you don't have to answer the door, but you can feel so grateful that there are opportunities knocking, so that when the right one comes, you're able to recognize it and you're able to see what it is that you really want and value, right? Because there's an Ace of Pentacles here. This is taking something tangible and grounding it in something. And the protagonist energy doesn't mean all bad either, right? It's just an energy to be cautious of because of the way that it can inform other aspects of your reading. And so the main challenge here is this Eight of Cups, a lot of emotional energy. Now, the Eight of Cups is kind of a leaving behind energy. It's a walking away. So, but this, I get more of like, a coming back. Like, there's a way that you're going from one environment, into another, right? This is like sorry, I'm hearing biome. It's like you're going from one ecosystem to a different one, right? You're moving from one to the other. And I feel like that's where it's like you're leaving that behind. And I do think this might be informed by the Taurus and Scorpio eclipses that are happening throughout this year. The next one is 25th, which is a partial solar eclipse in Scorpio, which is what this represents. So it's that energy of what is most important to you. And you're making decisions that are quite grounded at this time. Knight of Pentacles, Empress, Ace of Pentacles. So it's very grounded decisions that are kind of propelling you forward in the best way. This is Cancerian and fourth house energy, right? So it could be maternal or maternally related things. Oh my gosh, so general. It could be maternal energy that you're integrating right now, or lessons from maternal figures in your life, maternal grown-ups that I want to say had to answer to, but that basically led the household, or that led you in some way, right? Because if you could have aunts or things like that had strong energy and a strong maternal presence in your life too. So that could be a possibility too. So just be mindful of that energy and how it sits for you. And it could just be fourth house placements that are active right now as well. But ultimately, I feel like there's a shift here, and it's almost like just tuning into this is, to me, it's striking me as like a gut check, right? Doing a gut check. How is this coming together internally, right? Like, what is it about what's going on inside? How does this make sense with where you are internally, emotionally? The Empress integrates all of the queens, right? So Queen of Swords, this very clear about what it is that's important to you and what you want that fires you up. Queen of Swords, Wands, Cups, right? And then we go to the Queen of Pentacles, which is making that real and turning it into something tangible to grow. So these are the lessons here. It's almost like a reflection midweek. This could just be a midweek pause and you're just taking stock of that energy. Nonetheless, though, I do feel like there's this, emotional energy that's really active right now. And it's not overwhelming active, but it's looking at, I think, maybe this is looking at your path and seeing that it may not have been perfect, because the Nine of Emotions, so the Nine of Cups and the Eight of Cups and the Six of Cups imply the journey towards that nine. So what I'm seeing is the sort of backwards facing aspect of that, like the journey to the nine. So there was there were ways that you may not have had those 9 cups, and you built that for yourself, which is a source of stability, and it's excellent. And I think that it's doing a check on where you're headed, and making sure that you understand that you're not demanding perfection for yourself, or allowing other people to demand perfection from you. And that can show up in different standards that we have. And I'm not talking about healthy boundaries and expectations. I'm talking about the ones that we can integrate and then really start to twist against ourselves, that become really damaging and harmful, right? They can become really harmful to ourselves. And we don't even mean for it to be that way. We don't mean for it to be that way, but they can just become that way. And that's where I feel like ending on the 7 of Wands is you sticking up for yourself in this energy. And it's almost like the way I'm seeing this is quite beautiful, especially with this sort of more inner child facing energy with the 6 of Cups here. I feel like this is you kind of pulling open this heart space inside of you, or this aspect of your energy where you're holding the light for yourself. You're doing for yourself what other people may not have been able to do, but was it their job to do it, right? And when you're thinking about inner child work and things like that, where you're healing those parts of you, it could be that there were inner grown-ups that were external facing grown-ups that weren't there. And you're doing this for yourself is what I'm trying to say. You're doing this for yourself, and you're healing that energy. There is forward movement, but it's almost like it's a slow movement, but it may seem slow because you're taking things one step at a time for yourself. It may seem slow because you're wanting to be methodical. It might seem slow because you're doing these check-ins with yourself, right? I almost see this as like a directional thing, like on a GPS, like a map, where you have the directional thing that says you're here. Like that looks like that to me. So it's like with new opportunities showing up, you see those as landmarks, as part of the bigger picture. And you're no longer seeing individual opportunities as the entire story. You're seeing them as and that's not to be like Knight of Wands about things either, but this is about looking at the situation and saying, how is this how is this contributing to the bigger picture in my life? How is this contributing to the bigger picture, not just of healing, but like just of I think of healing, but I think about what you do, who the human that you are with the lessons that you've taken from healing, right? How does all of that come together in your favor? How does all of that come together? And how are you continuing to be in this energy for yourself, not from a place of defense, but letting the light in, right? So I think that's really what the additional story is here. And this bridging consciousness energy is the Muse of Voices, which is the Swords energy. So I feel like this is kind of bringing your thought patterns and the beliefs that you have to the fore in a way that it's informed by this emotional shift that's taking place. And is it a huge shift? I think that it's more of a reflection, to be honest, with a lot of the water energy here. That's what I'm seeing. Like I was out kayaking this morning and I was watching the reflections play on the water, and just seeing how all of that was looking, and it was truly beautiful. It was lovely. And I felt like there was so much light that was being reflected and then bounced into the water as well. And I feel like that's kind of the vibe that's happening here, right? Like there's a way that the light is reflecting off the water to others. That's the light that you're shining. But then you're also allowing the light to come in, as opposed to just bouncing it off and continually like emptying your cup, right? You're not, and it's not emptying your cup in a way. Oh, sorry, that's my little diffuser. You're not just emptying your cup for the sake of itself. It's like, and not for the sake of itself. How do I word this? Spirit. Thank you. Okay. So when you shine a light, it's like you can't take any light in if you're not willing to be open. If you're not willing to have that part of you that's open. If there's a part of you that is scared or fearful or any of those things, it's exceedingly difficult to stay open. Because you haven't, and it's not a matter of haven't done the work or haven't done those things, because we don't know anyone's internal journey, right? We can only know our own. So it's not about that journey either. Like you have to take it, yes, but it's also the willingness to allow light to come in and just to land in your heart space, and for you not to push it away. It's like when people give compliments and you're like, oh, thank you so much. And then you like turn it on someone else. There was a reader that talked about that. And I was like, woo, I do that. Oh, I do that so much. And it was just like a reminder, right? I think it was Baba Jolie readings. I love that channel. But it's like, it's like needing to understand how you're allowing the light in. How are you allowing that light to come in? Because you shine, yes, you do. You do. What I'm seeing here is this entry into like this allowing in as well. And that's what, again, it's coming to mind because I was on the water just watching. It was very still at one part of the little lake nearby. And it was just watching the light hit the water and reflect back, but seeing how it was getting down into the seaweed and making the sediment in the water dance a little bit. It was just so beautiful and lovely, but just remembering to let the light into you as well. That's probably the lesson for today, because I've said it so many times, but it's just very loud. So we're going to clarify this energy here. Spirit, what messages do you have to clarify this for my daily creatives for July 22nd? And by July 22nd, I mean June 22nd. Could be something to do with July. I'm not sure. I've been doing that a lot this week, which is outside of these readings. I'm apparently already into July mentally. Do you want these? No. Okay. All right. So the Seven of Wands and the Muse of Swords. Seven of Cups, Two of Swords, King of Pentacles, Page of Swords. It could have been that there was a lot of energy that you were trying to navigate and manage. There could have been a lot of options as well. And it left you a bit frozen. not frozen, like no movement, but I think that you had to turn to this inner King of Pentacles where you had to decide what was most important to you. And in deciding, it's not just saying, well, this is important to me in this singular thing. It's, again, I'm getting that like big picture, like pulling back and looking at the big picture. What is most important to you? And then this is allowing you to move forward. This is also, this is curiosity. This is research. This is kind of doing your homework. But I'm getting that this is more so doing your homework internally, because the Two of Swords is another inward facing card, right? To me, it is, at least, because on the one hand, it's not having enough information to make a decision. So it's needing to get more information on a decision. Yes. But then there's also this other aspect of it where it is, it's like you're going within because the information that you have externally is insufficient to make the decision, to make a judgment call. So it's really, it's about turning inward, I think. Turning inward to listen to what your intuition has to say, because this is, we can sometimes get into this feeling of immobility because we are so, this is all, I'm hearing overstimulation. This can also be overstimulation, right? This can be having so much information to take in that we don't know where to look. But I feel like this is you redirecting your efforts because you understand where you want to look. Like you understand, and it's not that something massive was unlocked here. Like there's no tower or anything like that. I think it's just being more in tune with your emotions, right? And also remembering to let the light shine in, because when the light shines in, you not only see, your own BS more clearly, you also see, you see the light that's within you. And if you can't see that, you'll feel confused. You'll feel confused, especially, I've been through experiences where I've had people say that it's selfish or, just say that it's selfish to, to prioritize yourself. And it's like, that's not true at all. And it's not about prioritizing yourself, right? And it's a couple run-ins with narcissistic people have really taught me that, that's what a lot of narcissists will say. If you try to, as an empath, work from within out, right? If you try to focus on yourself, that's often what people will say. So it could be that that's something, I don't know, it could be that that's being healed, but that's sort of a caveat to say that you need to be, to a certain degree, you do need some selfishness, because selflessness is wonderful. But when you lose that sense of self, you also lose that ability to see the light and to have that light shine in you, right? Not neglecting the light that you can shine from without, right? But it's also just remembering to let it into. Okay, so we have the 9 of Cups, the 8 of Cups, and the Chariot. Spirit, can you tell me a little bit about this for my daily creatives for June 22nd, please? King of Swords, Page of Cups, Hanged Man, Knight of Wands. Whoa, that's a lot of people. What I'm understanding here, you're very clear about your heart space right now. You're very clear about it. You understand. You understand what it is that you want. You understand what it is that you need. There's a deep sensitivity, and I think that this again is like calling for the bigger picture take. And I think that you're doing this, right? You're doing this. And I think it's going to help you see Knight of Wands characters very clearly. And I say characters just because I feel like this is like in and out energy, someone who doesn't want to commit, someone who doesn't desire that. And I feel like you're very clear on what you want now. And if not now, then period. Like this is situations and energies that didn't give back to you the same way that you gave to them, right? So I think that could have made you feel more like you needed to be in this Hanged Man than feeling like like the Chariot was a thing that, you could just stand in. You could just stand in that light. That wasn't even a real shuffle. Let's try that again. It was a real shuffle, but was it? So yeah, I feel like there was an aspect of this that it's like you needed to take the bigger picture to see that, Yeah. And knowing too that like people can't read your mind. I don't know why this is coming across because it's not a sword energy. But just people can't read your mind. And it's not to say like blurt everything. That's not, save things for you. But I feel like there's like a clarity, and I feel like maybe you're more clear on something and you're willing to communicate that. Maybe you're willing to communicate that, but I also feel like there's this way that you're able to see the big picture and you're able to differentiate. I'm hearing like this is Piscean energy, the Hanged Man, and I'm seeing some of that with this Knight of Wands. Like there might have been some Piscean energy with people like that in your life, and you're taking a step back from that because you understand the bigger picture and what's most important to you in it. Which is making so many things accessible to you. And I think that is having something to do with this ending of a cycle. But it's an ending on a high note. Like you're ending on a high note because you're understanding what's most important to you. And because of that, the wheel can move. It's like you've allowed the wheel to move because you had like, I'm seeing in winter tires in Southern Ontario. Sometimes if you're further north, like way further north, you can put chains on your tires, right? And I'm almost seeing that that's what was around the wheel. Like it was like chained because of this cup energy that wasn't moving anywhere. Like it just, and it's not that it wasn't existing, it wasn't moving. And because you freed it through this Ace of Pentacles mindset shift, it's like that made so much more energy, so much more of that energy accessible to you and your path. So clarifying the wheel and the Knight of Pentacles, we have the Magician. So I do get the impression that you are in charge of your fate right now. You're more in charge of your fate than you perhaps may have given yourself credit for. Yeah, you're more in charge than you might have given yourself credit for. That's these two cards specifically. This is about knowing what you want and going for it on the one hand, but it's also that sense of self, Aries energy. It's a sense of self. It's a strong sense of self that isn't easily swayed or deterred by I don't know, by like Knight of Wands offerings, or just this energy of feeling like you had to prove that you were worth it before you could have it, maybe, with this Five of Pentacles here. Because Pentacles are like worth and value, right? So proving that you were worth it. But I feel like the Magician is here because you're in a place of understanding that you are next to the Emperor. Or clarifying the Emperor, I should say. Five of Pentacles and the Lovers. Yeah, there's a decision that you're making here. I mean, the sun came out, so that's beautiful. But I think this decision is... I love that the two Mercury cards came out here. This is a time that could bring messages. It could bring messages, but I feel like this is more about the way that you communicate what you know to be your worth and value and how you're showing up. And it's not the Emperor is not necessarily like a selfish energy. It can show up that way if it's in reverse, but what I'm seeing here more so is just that this is you understanding that there is a line around which, like, this is where you end and other people begin, and you're very clear about that. And it's not really relenting on that sense of self, because that's how you become the container that worthiness can be poured into, and that you do that for yourself. But if you don't have that sense of self first, what you pour in will just become a sieve, right? It won't stick around. And not because it's a Knight of Wands or anything, but because there's no container that's really solid. There's no boundaried sense of self. And I think that is the energy that's right here and to focus on. So this Six of Cups and the Empress is clarified by the Two of Cups. So some soulmate energy here, Judgment, and that's Pluto. And then we have the Sun, and that is Leo energy. So I feel a bit like stepping forward. This is about forward movement. Like, what does forward movement mean to you? Like, what does the new mean to you, right? because I do see that this is like, there's an awareness that you have about direction, right? It's interesting to me that with the sun, there's like this cherub or child riding on a horse. And I feel like the Knight of Pentacles and the Knight of Wands is here too, but this Knight of Pentacles is the row before, which they inform one another, right? So it's like the one before it tells the story that informs this anyways. So I feel a bit like this is you taking charge of your own happiness and your own joy, and you doing that for yourself as opposed to relying on others. And that's really how this balanced relationship, this could be a balanced project that shows up. You could have felt like you were in an energy of, overgiving at work or on projects, right? And it was possibly really frustrating because you're like, well, someone's got to do it, and this, it has to run smoothly. Sometimes you have to not do things for other people so that they can fall apart and they can sweat it out. And that is a deep kindness that you are doing to them, because doing anything else they never figure out how to do stuff for themselves, right? And sometimes it has to fall apart. It's a very kind thing to allow that, right? There's a book by Daniel Miller, I think it was, called Gifts of Acceptance. And it was really freeing for me to read. It was about a year or two ago, maybe 2 years ago now that I read it, because I was trying to do so many things for so many different people in terms of friends or even at work. And, when I was in grad school doing all of this stuff for people, and they didn't end up ever acknowledging it. And I would feel hard done to, but then I was the one that was doing that to myself. So like I had to sweat that out and say, forget it. Like I'm not doing that again. Like you have to be the one to say enough is enough. But you can't make other people do things. That's like the heart of codependency, right? So it's like you're healing these patterns. I feel like that's why I'm seeing it so clearly. It's like there's only one cup that you can fill here, right? You're showing up with a cup. The other person is showing up with a cup. You're not showing up with 6 cups. You're not showing up with 4 or 9, although that is a good place to be internally. This is the one that can be filled. So like if you pour too much, you're going to spill and yours will be empty. And it's like when you do it that way, it looks like it's a spill, like my hand slipped. Like if you're filling up, for example, a cup of coffee and you overfill it, you put too much coffee in and you just fill and fill and fill and fill and fill. It's going to go everywhere and become a mess, right? That's what that pattern can be like as well. But I feel like it is transforming for you. And I feel like this is you showing up. This initial entry into this reading was like you showing up for yourself. And I feel like now this is happiness on the path it's like this is transforming the way that you connect to others and see relationships. Yeah. I feel like there could be a way that you may feel like you're balancing things right now. Like things may feel like they're, I don't know why I'm hearing, but just this balance. Like I feel like this is a balance card. I think it's just important to be mindful of how you're balancing your energy, right? And tending to that as well, because that informs your happiness. Like if it took me a long time in my 20s to understand that if you are not, there's emotional availability is also your availability to experience and feel joy. That's emotional availability too. Right? Because I always thought, it means if someone's, always, my goodness. When I was younger, I thought it had to do with like whether someone was willing to have hard conversations and do all this stuff. But sometimes people aren't available 3333 on the time. Sometimes people aren't available if they're not, their joy is not accessible to them. Like that's emotional availability. And if their joy is not accessible, what side of them do you think that you will get? Right? Ace of Wands. You might get one side like this, but you are a multidimensional being that deserves an equal partner that is willing to show up in their multidimensionality, which is a cup. It is connected to the heart space. So I feel like that is something that you have to keep in mind. So this Ace of Pentacles, so the Ace of Pentacles is clarified by the Ace of Wands. Spirit, can you clarify this for me? Thank you so much. This reading ended up going longer than I thought. My apologies, my darlings. I wanted to keep it short and to the point, but we had a bit here. Okay, so we have the Ace of Wands, the Three of Pentacles, the Queen of Swords, and the Six of Wands. I'm honestly getting here that The way that you come together with others and connect is based on value now. Like there's a Three of Cups, which is like a coming together in a celebratory energy. There's a Three of Wands, which is sort of an inward facing creative spark management, I would say, like inspiration management, where you're positively expecting things, you're planning things, your ship's coming in, that kind of energy. So I feel like there's that side of the threes, but I feel like this is understanding what is most important to you about connecting with other people, about working with other people. This is a project card, so it could be related to work, yes, but I also feel like this is like foundational energy for relationships too, and it is rightly so a pentacle, but I feel like there's a sense of clarity here, and this could be, if you're working on projects, I think there's going to be an idea, if this is work related for you, there's an idea that is going to come to you that is going to be informed by a very firm and strong foundation for you, that's going to certainly, I think it's certainly going to be very clear that this is the path that you want to take and move forward on. Like you'll know this is like a knowing that's informed by, intellect, yes, but also rationalization and looking at all of the things and all of the things in front of you, the options in terms of work, if this is for work. I dislike looking at people as options because people are not options. They're more precious than that. So, but I know a lot of people see it that way. So there's a tension in the way that I use the words because I'm very careful because people are not just options. That's not what people are. Don't allow yourself to feel that small ever. Like just don't. I can't tell you what to do, but please don't. But the Queen of Swords, I think, is that there's a clarity that's coming here. And I think this is allowing for a celebration of, it's a coming together that's of a different variety than the Three of Cups. It's a different variety wherein this is you holding all of these wands up, together. Like this is you holding your wand, your idea up, and other people coming together in celebration of that in a group setting, right? So this can also be public recognition, yes, but this is in part, this is a sort of coming together that allows you to, this is like taking responsibility, but it's what happens after, like what happens when you stop being in codependent patterns, what happens when you stop taking responsibility for other people. You're able to hold the wand and come together in a group setting that's really healthy. So when there's that celebration, it's not as though you're connected in all of these different corded ways. You're holding your own wand, right? This is like holding your own torch, holding your own creative inspiration for you. So this is a really amazing reading. It kind of went deep. My goodness. Not a bad thing. Just like 37 minutes is long. So if you're still watching, I appreciate it. Thank you. I do appreciate that. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives? Whoa, all of them. All the messages. Okay. What messages do you have, Spirit? You might not know now, but you will. I think this is a bit of a call to trust your intuition. And again, there's a lot of inward-facing energy at the top here. Like it was a lot of reflecting energy. So it's understanding that the light that you allow to shine within you, to come in and just to sit with that light, right? Don't deflect compliments. Don't let them bounce off of you like a reflection. Take them in. When people say kind things to you, take them in because they matter just as much as you do. And like you matter independent of compliments that people give you and all of that. But sometimes it's nice to just be in that energy when people offer that because it's sincere. And if you're used to people being insincere with that, then that's something to think about and work on as well, right? That's a pattern to untangle. But when people are genuinely showing up for you, it's probably a good idea to let the light that they're shining come in, right? Allow that. Spirit, what message do you have to help close out this reading for my daily creatives for June 22nd, please? Everyone is doing their best. Yeah, I feel like maybe you need to remember that you are too. You are too. And that's where this flossom comes in, right? We are all a ball of flossom. Flawesome. Flossom, right? We are all flossom. We are all doing our best. And generally speaking, When people compliment you, they compliment you too, knowing that like they see it's, I don't know how to word what I'm trying to say. I was talking to someone about this yesterday, where, I think it's just, they compliment you because of what's in you, not because of what they want from you or things like that. You might be used to flattery, and I had to deal with that, doing a lot of activism and work in politics and stuff. And it came up yesterday while I was talking to someone, where it's like this sense of like schmoozing, and it can come, I took a big disliking to it because it was so insincere. Right. And it was just, but like it's realigning. Like, how do you take in compliments? How do you take in good? Knowing that you deserve it, knowing that you deserve that, and being very grounded and rooted in your joy. Okay, Spirit, what messages do you have to close out this reading for my daily creatives, please? I live in a friendly universe. Yes, it's believing this too. It's believing that you do, believing that you are worthy of it, believing that is just true. Like it is how that works, right? Let life befriend you today. Every hour on the hour throughout the day, remind yourself, I live in a friendly universe. And one that supports you too, right? And that will help you to trust what comes across your path. That will help you to trust the light and joy that makes it there. That makes it on your path and to you through it. I am beautiful and everybody loves me. Repeat that to yourself several times a day. I am beautiful and everybody loves me. Right? Sometimes that can just be the gateways, believing that that's true. And it's not, my first instinct is to like push away at that a little bit and be like, ooh, I don't want to sound like a selfish jerk or anything like that. But that's not selfishness. That's recognizing that you are beautiful, that you do deserve, right? And there's a way that it's just like old programming. There's the train. Old programming can kind of cause you to bump up against it. But if you don't, like, you have to fundamentally believe this, right? You really do. So I am beautiful and everybody loves me. Carry this thought with you today and notice the effect on you and others. Okay, so that's your reading, my darlings. If this resonated, please give it a like and feel free to subscribe. It helps me to grow the channel and continue to get found in this wonderful YouTube algorithm. So, and thank you for watching this. Your viewing and just, the subscriber count going up means so much to me. So thank you for that, because you're choosing to invest time here. So that means the world to me. So thank you. And, as we do, wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, I hope it finds you very well, my lovelies. Take care.